Tonight, Gammon joins the hunt.
It's almost a staple to have an evil genius and ruthless antagonist in games these days. Be it an actual person or some supernatural force or even an artificial intelligence unit, villains are everywhere and sometimes games just aren't complete without one. Sometimes villains aren't realized until the very end of a game or DLC, and this is what makes some of them even better. That being said, there are obviously some games whose villains are more deceiving and devious than others, and in my opinion these masterminds deserve some attention and praise. And that's exactly what we're going to be doing here today. So without further ado, here are my top 5 villains of the recent age. At number 5 we have Gehrman from Bloodborne. Now, as a huge fan of the Soulsborne series, this one was an absolute beauty of a betrayal. Gehrman is represented in Bloodborne as an old frail man who serves somewhat as a guide for hunters when they are in the hunter's dream. As time progresses, you learn more about Gehrman and his intentions, which climaxes in a chilling cutscene where he reveals the truth about his role in the nightmare. He offers you an easy way out, aka a swift execution, or you can resist him and commence an epic battle in a field of flowers with one of the most beautiful battle soundtracks in the entire game. Gehrman was one of those that you never expected to come out as a villain, or at least a villain-esque person, and to me this was absolutely awesome. At number 4 we have Oryx from Destiny. Anyone that played Destiny up until the Taken King expansion will know the story. You took a sword and smashed Crota in the head a couple times and now he's dead, and his daddy isn't too happy about that, but I mean you can't really blame the guy, I'm sure you would be too. So he shows up in the solar system and everything just goes south. He begins conquering different races including the Fallen and Cabal. He proceeds to terrorize pretty much all life in the solar system and we're sent to stop him. Long story short, we board his dreadnought ship and kill him. Well, we kinda kill him because the only way to really kill a Taken Guard is killing them in their Ascendant realm. And that's where the King's Fall raid comes in. You end up defeating Oryx in the raid and killing a few of his sisters in the process. By the end of it, you've basically killed the entire family except for Nokris. We're still wanting to know exactly where he is. I just personally loved Oryx as a character and everything he was about. Pretty cool villain if you ask me. At number 3 we have Mr. Adler from Uncharted 4: A Thief's End. Adler and Nathan can be traced pretty far back, as in Uncharted 4 there's a few flashback moments where you get an insight of both Adler and Nathan as younger kids, and it's there that you see just how much of a bad person Adler has always been. He was always a power-hungry fool and continued to be throughout the entire game. He kinda had it easy as he inherited all of his dad's wealth and became a serious D-bag because of this. With all of his wealth, he was able to hire Nadine Ross and her army, Shoreline, to help in the searching for the mythical pirate treasure of Libertalia. I hope I said that right. The explosive climax comes when Nathan and Mr. Adler have an epic showdown on a burning ship. It's a pretty awesome cinematic and a fitting end to a friendship in my opinion. At number 2 we have Olivia Pierce from Doom. One thing that especially stood out for me from the recent Doom reboots was the introduction of the villainous Olivia Pierce. The original game was fantastic and all, but the absence of a true antagonist was something that really made a big difference. Olivia Pierce is nothing special when it comes to being a villain. She has a pretty evil idea and she'll do anything for that plan to go through. But the way it's all executed makes it really special. She's ruthless and isn't afraid to casually slaughter countless beings in the process. As the game's coming to a close, Olivia is transformed into a spider mastermind by the very creatures she was fighting for, and it honestly does make for an awesome twist and boss battle. If you're a fan of the Doom series, you'd know that this spider has been a staple in the Doom series bosses. At number 1 we have Slave Knight Gale from Dark Souls 3. Now, as I've mentioned, I'm a huge Soulsborne fan, and the discovery of what Slave Knight Gale really is was literally a jaw-dropper. You're introduced to Gale in the first DLC, The Painted World of Ariandel, and he just seems to be a lowly knight that's sent to guide you and direct you in the right direction. You encounter him a few times throughout the first and second DLC, where he'll drop tidbits of dialogue, but it's not until the end of the second DLC that Slave Knight Gale really becomes one of my favorite plot twists around. His ultimate goal from the very beginning was to travel through the lands and consume souls to feed his hunger for power. He goes to the Ring City in search of the Dark Soul for a source of ultimate power and does find it through his consumption of the pygmies and other beings. The setting, the boss, and the soundtrack just make this one of my all-time favorite boss showdowns, and that's saying a lot, seeing as there's been so many epic boss battles in the past.
That thing, your dark soul.
Do you agree with my list? Are there any villains that you're especially fond of? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, consider leaving a like and subscribing and all those tasty things. Until next time, farewell.